All right, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharice Jervis-Hill. I am the president of Events to Remember. Events to Remember is a full-service event management and public relations firm. COVID has definitely forced a lot of us into the virtual space. So as many of you know, I facilitated a really fun entrepreneurs group called Coffee with Cher. We would meet weekly at the Jefferson Valley Mall. Hey, JV Mall folks, miss you guys. So wanted to keep the momentum going. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a series of different little snippets with entrepreneurs that I think are really doing some great stuff, and with the hopes of inspiring other entrepreneurs. So today I am with someone who I absolutely adore. She is amazing, Dorcia Carrillo. She's going to tell us about her firm. She's going to tell us a little bit about, what she's been doing in this space. And I'm going to let her kick it off. So first off, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and your firm and kind of how you got started.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Sharice. And I think the world of you too. As if people don't know, I've worked with Sharice, and her organization did a virtual happy hour that was very well received by my clients. So thank you for having me, and thank you for that. Again, I am Dorcia Carrillo. Carrillo is my husband's last name, so I'm not as attached if you don't roll the R's. I've been practicing law, so I finished law school in 2011, and I started my career with two divisions of United Technologies Corporations. And so I was working on international transactions. And then I decided I was going to start my own firm because I thought if, if I could do it there, I could do it on my own. So I took that jump in 2016. My firm is approximately 4 years old, and I still work on international trade matters and some international transactions, but my focus has been on technology transactions, so specifically for enterprise software as a service companies, or I help some local managed service providers negotiate and draft contracts for their sales and purchases. So that's the bulk of what I've been doing the last couple of years. And then I handle general commercial transactions as well.
That's awesome. Now, I know you do a lot with larger firms with the technology space. Do you do anything with smaller entrepreneurs, any small business owners?
Right. So as I said, I have a few local clients who are managed service providers or mobile application developers on the smaller side, and I help them with their terms of service. If they're putting something up on Google Play or the Apple Store, you have to have terms of service for a mobile application, your privacy policy, those sorts of things. I do help. And then, as I said, general commercial transactions, some smaller business, I get referrals, whether it's buy-sell agreements for the shareholders of a small, closely held company, or operating agreements for limited liability companies. I do handle some of those matters as well.
Okay, awesome. One of the things that I absolutely love is, and anyone who knows me knows I am very big girl power, girl power, girl power. So the industry that you're in is very much a male dominated industry. So I love that you are just, you're rocking it. So it makes me proud.
Thank you.
And also a woman of color. I mean, I'm super proud of you, and you're in this space that is definitely a male dominated space. And so that I just wanted to state that I think that is amazing.
Thank you. And I just want to add a quick anecdote. When I started my practice, I was doing I had an immigration practice, and then that really didn't suit my needs or the client's needs. So I immediately switched back to corporate, and I was talking to a business development specialist because I wanted to see more volume in my practice. And he said I should focus in on one specific industry, being technology, because I worked for United Technologies and I already had a few software clients. So he said I should really focus in on that. And he even mentioned, he said, you're a Black woman. I don't know many Black women doing that. That's going to set you apart right there. So I know that it is somewhat unique. There are some others of us out there. I have a good friend who also runs a practice, and she has some technology experience, but she focuses more on trademarks and estate planning. But
Mhm.
it is sort of unique, and I like that.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great segue too about kind of setting yourself apart, because I think just having been in business for a really long time, you really have to find that niche. You really have to find what sets you apart from everyone else. So talk about that a little bit, about just, what you provide in your services that really sets you apart from everyone else. Because I think that is something that can be very helpful for other business owners or people that are thinking about starting businesses, or just pivoting right now. Some people are kind of just making changes in their business and trying to figure certain things out. So tell me a little bit about kind of what you do that really sets you apart from your competition.
Absolutely. And what's very unique about what I do is that I do service mostly larger companies, and I do a lot of high volume overflow work for bigger companies, and I have that big company experience. So from a lawyer standpoint, I'm sort of backwards. I started off working within a legal department in, a large corporation, and then I branched out and started my own firm. Most attorneys start out having their own firm if that's the route they're going to take, or they start off in firms and then they move in-house. So I've had that client side inside experience that informs the way I can therefore service my clients now. And that sort of sets me apart. In addition to, every single person is different. So there are hundreds, thousands of attorneys, and we all bring our own personal experiences in what we do. And I've started to really welcome bringing in my own personal experiences and my preferences and how I operate, so that I can provide a fuller service to my clients, especially clients who look like me.
I love it. Perfect. So I want to just take a minute and talk about COVID-19. I mean, we're all so sick of it. It's just,
And
it's,
tired.
it's a new reality for everyone. But as small businesses, most of us are so very much impacted. And my hearts and prayers are those that have lost family members and friends. But I do want to talk about just in business. I know for me, I've had to pivot and do a lot differently. And I want to find out, in your space, are you seeing, like, have you had to pivot and make changes? Or is this kind of, since you do a lot of technology, maybe you spend a ton of time kind of the Zoom world and everything else is kind of a normal for you. So have you had to make any major adjustments with COVID-19, with everything that's happening? Has it affected your business, in any kind of
It's
way?
it's definitely affected my business, but in more subtle ways, because I have been fully functional in my home office. I'm in a home office right now, and I've been, everything is in the cloud, and I've been doing Zoom meetings before COVID, because a lot of times my clients are fine meeting virtually. I have an office in White Plains, but I go there as necessary. So being remote hasn't been a change for me. It's just being forced to be remote. So now it's more of a mindset thing, where I know I can't grab a coffee with someone as casually as I may have done previously. And then from a sort of a business development aspect, because a lot of the business development I was doing was in person, so that's been changed. But from the operational standpoint, I'm very thankful that my clients have continued to see success for the most part, because especially, as you said, technology, people are relying more on technology
Yeah.
services. They, whether my clients are busier because their client base is growing, or whether they're consuming more technology products and then I'm busier reviewing and structuring those agreements, it's been a boost for my business. There's definitely still been an impact. And as I said, that subtle, like, mental impact that everyone is facing. And again, I'm thankful that I'm healthy, my family, all of my business partners, everyone's been healthy for the most part. So it's a good thing. And it's been a good opportunity to pick up some more matters and just partner a little bit more closely with some of my clients, and providing additional things like I'm not an employment lawyer, but with people moving their workforces remotely, I've advised on what they should be cognizant of for a remote work work from home policy, those sorts of things, expanding and then identifying resources for clients.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, so in wrapping up, I want to just kind of take a minute and talk about what your recommendation would be for someone who is starting a new business or pivoting and going in a totally different direction. I mean, you have thrived in this space of where we are right now. You have not let it stop you. So I just want to kind of take a minute and, just kind of talk to someone who's thinking about starting a business or someone who is having a rough time and is thinking about going in a different direction. And you are inspiring. So I want you to kind of just share some of that, just a tidbit of what you would recommend for them.
Well, thank you again for all of the compliments. And even as an attorney, I'll step away from like the legal tips one because I don't want anyone to think this is
Yes.
legal advice, but just in some very general things about starting a business. It is a mindset shift. If you're going from being an employee to then being the employer, and even if it's just the one person shop, there's a mindset shift because you can be what I've noticed with some business owners, you can be really great at making pizza, but the business of owning a pizzeria is different. You're not just focused on making the sauce and the dough, but you have to think about how do you source these ingredients. You have to think about the liability, premises liability if you have people coming into an establishment. You have to think about your accounting procedures, like what's your cash flow, when do you buy things, and you have to think about, you have to move into that business mindset. So that's the biggest thing, and it can be intimidating because it is a lot. But my advice is to, one, know that you're not going to know everything, and then to find those people who can help you fill in those gaps. And so, of course, I think working with a trusted advisor like an attorney is going to be very helpful in making sure that you're protecting your business interests, protecting your financial interests. You want to probably partner with an accountant and get into some sort of networking group so that you can start to develop the clientele that you'll need to generate the revenues to support all of these things, because it can be a very daunting endeavor, but it is totally worthwhile if it's something you really want to do. So understanding the scope of what starting a business, or even if you've been in business and now you're pivoting, understanding what that pivot is and how it differs from what you've been doing. Because if you're changing your product, you might be changing your clientele as well. And then you have to understand how you're relating to a new clientele, or even maybe a new geography. If you're taking things remotely and now you're selling on an e-commerce platform, what are the differences there between selling in a brick and mortar? And so I can't stress how important it is to have trusted advisors, whether it's attorneys you're paying or if it's a business coach, finding those resources. And there are a lot of free resources. I will caution that free is not bad, but it's just usually not going to be as custom. So the SCORE is under the Small Business Administration, and there's a great toolkit for starting a business. But you are going to have certain circumstances that are going to be unique to your situation, and that's when you need someone who's going to be able to address those specifics. And that's when you want someone who you develop a relationship with and can work with that same person or work with that firm throughout the life of your business. That's my biggest recommendation.
Yeah. Oops, sorry. That is great. I mean, it's I think of your attorney and your accountant and your bookkeeper. These are all kind of as your partners. They're helping you build your business, and not having these folks can be very costly. So I agree with your advice 100%. So I know that you are very busy and you have clients to get back to, so I am going to let you go, but I wanted to thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and telling us a little bit about you and your organization. And thank you for having virtual coffee with Cher today. And
yes, I have my water because I didn't make any coffee yet. But
yes,
thank you
well,
for having
water
me.
is good. We need to hydrate. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And if anyone is interested, they can please follow the law office of Dorcia Carrillo on Instagram.
All right, so tell us again your social media, and I will post this when we post the link. I'll definitely share all of your social media channels, but tell us your website, your socials, and your phone number.
So everything is my first and last name, and it'll be posted so it'll be easier for people to read that. But Dorcia Carrillo, two R's, two L's. The Law Office of Dorcia Carrillo on Instagram, Dorcia Carrillo on LinkedIn, and my phone number is 646-271-7881. Again, that's 646-271-7881. And I'd be happy to hear from anyone.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
we will be in touch soon. All right. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you, Cherise. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
All right. Bye bye.